Hello and welcome. This is Nolan with Discover NC Homes, Nolan's News, and today we're going to talk about, again, flood zones, X and AE, but specifically how you are put into one or the other. So again, just to recap, flood zone X is a 500-year floodplain, meaning that every 500 years you may receive a flood. Again, 500 years that might do some property damage. AE 100 means just that. Every 100 years you may see something, property damage every 100 years. So I used to think that flood zone was just calculated by what's called BFE, which is base floodline elevation. In our county, and I'll say counties, Brunswick, New Hanover, and Pender, the BFE is about 14 feet, meaning that the bottom of your finished floor, if you are above 14 feet, I used to think that you would be completely out of a flood zone no matter what other type of circumstance or what other surroundings might be around your house. Well, I am wrong. So FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is who determines flood zones. And I did some reading and research, and there are a number of things just besides BFE that determines a flood zone. So one of the elements they look at is historical data, rainfall in that specific area. And it can get as specific as within Brunswick County, certain regions of the county. With this, they also look at storm surge. They look at things like where is drainage. So FEMA will look, besides BFE, at kind of, we'll call it historical flood data. We've already talked about BFE. That is probably the most important, because if you are under 14 feet, no matter what, to your first finished floor, you are going to be in a flood zone AE 100, not an X 500. And then the third thing is they look at the natural geography and hydrology of land and how it's even changed over time. Meaning, you might be 50, 55 foot above sea level, but you're in an area with a very heavy reddish clay-like soil. It is very poor at absorbing rainfall, so it will cause flooding when we get these heavy torrential rains where a nice sandy soil will absorb and just, it won't cause nearly as much flooding. So soil type, they also look at drainage areas, wetlands, streams, all of those things, and these maps are constantly changing. So might have had something outside of a flood zone or in a flood zone X 500 for 20 years, and all of a sudden we get a storm like Florence and things change because some flooding happened because there was a little creek maybe located a mile away that just completely overflowed and maybe flooded out some homes. So bottom line is there are more than just the BFE, the base floodline elevation, to look at when determining a flood zone. So please, more to come. Again, this is just X 500 versus AE 100, but very interesting to read on some of the determining factors and how they are constantly changing. And these maps are updated, I think, every 3 to more like 5 years, but always changing. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We'll talk to you soon.